besties, welcome back. I think this is the most exciting video I have ever filmed. Okay, but before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you so much for participating on the giveaway and to remind you that you have until tomorrow to enter, because tomorrow I'm going to pick the winners, and if you don't know, the winners are going to be announced on my Instagram. So if you don't follow me already, follow me so you know who wins. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I have read by Colleen Hoover. If you don't know her, she is my favorite author of all time. I love her books so much. Like, she got me into reading. I love her books so much. So I am going to try to talk about these books in the order that I read them. So, little disclaimer, very important. I always encourage you guys to look up trigger warnings for every book that you're gonna read. I don't like to put like the trigger warnings myself because there are so many topics that can trigger someone. So I do encourage you guys to do research and look up trigger warnings before you read books. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the first book that I ever read by Colleen Hoover. So this is probably not a surprise, but the first book that I read was It Ends With Us. And you guys, like, I love this book so much because when I read it, I honestly did not know anything about it. I honestly did not know anything about the author. I also didn't know that it had like so much hype. So that's why I think I loved it so much. I read this book in one sitting, in a day. I started this book like at 10 a.m. and finished it like at 9 p.m. So this book is about Lily. She's a girl that graduates college. She decides to move to Boston and she wants to open her own business. But like one random night, she goes to a rooftop of a building alone and she finds this guy. And this guy is like really pissed off. One thing leads to another and they started talking and they talk for a while, but they like part ways after that. And one day they meet again and this guy is Ryle. So the story is about Lily the girl and Ryle. So when they accidentally meet again, well, that's when the whole love story starts. But the story goes sideways. But the book has two points of view. So the first point of view is Lily in the present moment, and the other one is basically Lily's past. So when she was a teenager, I'm not sure the exact age, I would say 14, 15. Honestly, I don't remember. It's the story of Lily's past and then the present moment and what's happening in the present moment. But at the end, it does have a happy ending. It kind of has a happy ending. The last line is like, I cried so much. It's so good. But yeah, it's harsh, it's sad, but it has a happy ending. It has an important message. That's why I like it. But again, look up trigger warnings because it's a harsh book. Okay, the next book that I read, I actually don't have it in paperback, but I'm going to buy it soon. I read Hopeless. So honestly, I read It Ends With Us and I was like, okay, I like this author, so I'm just going to read another book by this author. And that's what I did. And I don't know why I chose this book and I read Hopeless. This book is a roller coaster, like literally. So this book is about Sky. Sky's a girl who has been like homeschooled her entire life. Her mother doesn't let her like have internet, a phone, like no TVs, no internet, nothing. And she decides and she convinces her mother that she was going to go to high school, her last year of high school, which is senior year. So she goes to this high school and she meets a guy, which is Dean. So I'm going to read a little bit of the synopsis. So basically, Dean Holder, a guy with a promiscuous reputation that rivals her own. From their very first encounter, he terrifies and captivates her. Something about him sparks memories of her deeply troubled past, a time she's tried so hard to bury. But the mysterious Holder has been keeping secrets of his own. And once they are revealed, Sky's changed forever and her ability to trust may be a casualty of the truth. So basically, they date, and at one point in the book, the plot twist comes, and the plot twist is basically something that happened to Sky in her past, but she doesn't actually remember it. She has like suppressed memories. I was shocked the entire time reading literally the second half of the book. After the plot twist, my eyes were like Please look up trigger warnings because this book has a ton. But I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I love the story. The character development was perfect to like the plot twist, and the ending was unexpected. But I would say it's like kind of a happy ending. Go read the book because it's honestly so underrated and it's really good. So after reading these 2 books, I was like, I need to buy all her books like right now. And I decided to buy Ugly Love and November 9, but I read first Ugly Love. So I'm so happy I read this book. This book has a special place in my heart. You guys know this is my favorite book of all time. I think I've literally explained this book so many times in my channel, so I am going to like give you a very short synopsis of this because I don't want to bore you. But this book is about Miles and Tate. Tate is a girl who moves to a new city. She doesn't have a place to stay, so she stays with her brother. Her brother is a pilot and he lives in like a luxury apartment. And the day that she moves into the apartment, when she got to like the front door of the apartment, there was a guy, like a passed out drunk guy. So she calls her brother like, what the hell, what is happening, who is this guy? And he's like, I don't know, wait, I'm going to call my neighbor so he can help you. So he calls his neighbor, and when he calls her back, he tells her that he needs her help because the neighbor is actually the drunk guy on the front door. One thing leads to another. They become friends with benefits, but Miles is the guy that literally doesn't want a relationship. He doesn't want like to feel anything for that matter, like at all. So it's kind of suspicious. You don't know why. So friends with benefits to lovers, but there's a whole plot twist. And what I love about this book is that it's spicy, it's sad, but then it's happy. So it has the perfect combination of emotions in one book. This is my favorite book of all time. Please read it. At this point, I've just memorized the entire book because it's a 5 out of 5 stars for me. Okay, so after Ugly Love, I read November 9. So this is the book, and honestly I'm so excited for fall and November 9. I'm going to celebrate. So basically this book is about this girl Fallon, basically a girl that was a actress while becoming an actress, and one day she has an accident where she was in her room in her father's house, and there was a fire in the house, and she got stuck in her bedroom, which meant that the fire got to her. She has burns and like scars in half of her body. So that is the like backstory of Fallon, and the story actually starts with her having dinner with her father. They don't like each other, they don't have a good relationship, and while they were having dinner, the father said some like very terrible things to her, and this guy, like this random guy, literally sits down in their booth and he pretends to be Fallon's boyfriend. So this is Ben. The day that this happened was November 9. So they decide to meet every November 9 for like 5 years. I don't remember exactly how many years, but because Fallon is actually moving to New York and he is staying in LA. I feel like this book wasn't as sad as the others though, but I love the plot twist and I do recommend this book every single time. It's so good. So the book that I read after November 9 was All Your Perfects. So basically the story is about the marriage of this girl Quinn and her husband Graham. So they don't have the best marriage because they haven't been able to get pregnant and have kids, which is also another big part of the book. Well, it's literally the entire part of the book. They have a lot of problems in their marriage. So the book talks a lot about like sex and their marriage and their problems. It does have a happy ending. So basically the book has 2 points of view. So the first one is then, which was the past, and now, which is the present moment. The last thing Quinn expected was to meet the love of her life just outside her fiance's front door. A year after leaving behind their cheating partners, Quinn and Graham are in a perfect relationship. 7 years later, their perfect love is threatened by their imperfect marriage. The memories, mistakes, and dreams that they have built up over the years are tearing them apart. The one thing that could save them might also be the very thing that pushes their marriage past the point of no return. So that is the thing that I was telling you about, like the marriage and the kids and everything. Not my favorite book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Really well written. Maybe you will love it, so give it a try. Okay, the next book that I read was Heart Bones. So this is a YA book, but I honestly really liked this book. It's not one of my favorites, but I did love it. So this book is about Bea. So Bea is this girl who lives in a very small town with her mom, which she's a drug addict, and she works full time so she can move out. And one day when she comes back from work, she finds that her mother OD'd. So that is the start of the book. You're kind of like, oh my god. So Bea decides to call her father, which her father hasn't been like present in her life like a lot. So she decides to call him because she literally doesn't have anyone, and he lives in another state. He has a whole nother family. She decides to move in with her father in the other state, so she goes and everything. And her father is married to another woman, and that woman has a daughter. And Bea starts hanging out with her stepsister and her friends. And one day she meets Samson. So that's the guy in the story, and they have this little cute relationship until the plot twist. So you're gonna find out the plot twist. And I think I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So it's honestly really cute. I do recommend reading this book. So after Heartbones, I read Verity. So this is a wild book. This is a very like different thriller type of book, thriller mystery. It has so many things going on, but I loved it. This is one of my favorites. It's so good. So I'm going to read the back of the book because it's a little hard to explain. So Lowen, which is a girl, is a struggling writer on the brink of financial ruin when she accepts the job offer of a lifetime. Jeremy Crawford, husband of best-selling author Verity Crawford, has hired Lowen to complete the remaining books in a successful series his injured wife is unable to finish. Lowen arrives at the Crawford home, ready to sort through years of Verity's notes and outlines, hoping to find enough material to get her started. What Lowen doesn't expect to uncover is an unfinished autobiography Verity never intended for anyone to read. Page after page of bone-chilling admissions, including Verity's recollection of the night their family was forever altered. Lowen decides to keep the manuscript hidden from Jeremy, knowing its contents would devastate the already grieving father. But as Lowen's feelings for Jeremy begin to intensify, she recognizes all the ways she could benefit if he were to read his wife's words. After all, no matter how devoted Jeremy is to his injured wife, a truth this horrifying would make it impossible for him to continue to love her. I'm just going to tell you, this is a roller coaster of a book. The entire book, you're like, what the hell is happening? Like, what the hell is happening? I was so shocked reading this book. And at the end with the plot twist, I shed a tear or two because I was so shocked. I have talked about this book with so many people and everyone ends up like very shocked, but I love it so much. Look up the trigger warnings. It's a little bit crazy, but so good. So different from her other books. So yeah, this is so freaking good. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. This video is going to be very long. After Verity, I read Regretting You. So this is another YA book. A little bit heartbreaking, but cute. Like cute as hell. The thing that I most like about this book is the ending. Like, I love that ending so much. So cute. Like, I was bawling my eyes out because it was so freaking cute. So this book is written from 2 points of views. So the first point of view is Morgan, and the second point of view is Clara, which Clara is the daughter of Morgan. So it's a mother-daughter thing, but I love it so much. So it's the story of Morgan, how she ended up pregnant with Clara, and then the story like hops to like years later where Clara is 16. Morgan is like a mother, a full-time mother, and like Clara is all grown up. So that's where like the point of view start, and the story starts with a death in the family which uncovers a big secret, and that changes everything. So it's the love story of Morgan, and then it's a love story of Clara. It's honestly so freaking underrated. I love the mother and daughter thing. They're like separate lives, but how those lives like connect and how they like build a bond. Honestly, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. You should read it. So I accidentally skipped through Confess. So I actually read Confess after Heartbones, so whatever, but I read Confess and this has become one of my all-time favorite books. I love it. I love it with all my heart. It's in the same level as Ugly Love, like that's how much I loved it. So this book is about Auburn and Owen. So Auburn is this girl who moves to a new city. She is looking for a job, so one day when she's walking back to her apartment, she runs into this like art studio, and she enters this art studio looking for the job, and she finds Owen. So Owen is the owner of the art studio, and he gives her a job. And the weird thing is that Owen recognizes Auburn, but Auburn doesn't recognize him. So when Auburn meets Owen, she takes a chance and puts her heart in control, only to discover that Owen is keeping a major secret from coming out. The magnitude of his past threatens to destroy everything Auburn loves most, and the only way to get her life back on track is to cut Owen out of it. To save the relationship, all Owen needs to do is confess. But in this case, the confession could be much more destructive than the actual sin. So yeah, it's like a very complicated relationship. I cannot express how much I loved the ending. It was perfect. It was beautiful. It's a happy ending, but it's an unexpected ending because it has like a little plot twist at the end, but it's so beautiful. It's so freaking beautiful. I cannot even explain. I love this book. It's so freaking good. Please go read it. So the next book that I read was Maybe Someday, and this is another book that's honestly really like cute. It gives me Regretting You vibes. This book is about Sydney and Ridge. At 22 years old, Sydney is enjoying a great life. She's in college, working a steady job, in love with her wonderful boyfriend, Hunter, and rooming with her best friend. But everything changes when she discovers that Hunter is cheating on her, and she's forced to decide what her next move should be. Sydney finds herself captivated by her mysterious and attractive neighbor, Ridge. She can't take her eyes off him or stop listening to the passionate way he plays his guitar every evening out on his balcony. They soon find themselves needing each other in more ways than one. So I would say this is like a forced proximity, forbidden kind of love, because they want to be together, but there is a clear obstacle between them, and it was very different. Like the main topic is very different, and it's not one of my favorites, but it's a cute book. Like, I liked it. Okay, and my newest addition, the latest book I've read is Without Merit. So I would say this is not a love story. Like, the main topic of this book is not like love and like romance. No. It is a YA book, but it's more of like family problems. So this book is about Merit and her family. Her family is the Voss family, and Merit is a twin, but she has always felt that she is like very different, like she is an outsider to her family, and actually each member of her family is keeping a secret from each other. But Merit is the only one that literally knows everyone's secret. So like the stress and the pressure that she feels like gets to her, and at the end Merit has to like see her family from a different point of view, and it talks about mental health also. Honestly, it's a really important book. I love the message at the end, but it's not one of my favorites. I think I gave it a 4 or 4.5. That is the last book that I read, and I actually am so excited because I just got slammed and the second book of Maybe Someday, which is Maybe Now. So excited to read those. Those are all the books that I have read by Colleen Hoover. I cannot wait to read all her books. I am in the process. I am getting there. I have been talking for so long. So please DM me. Tell me if you've read any of these books. So please go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. And press that notification bell so you get notified when I upload more videos. Love you, besties. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one.
Saw you walking in the street one day, it was a Sunday. You had flowers in your hand, you were dancing with your headphones on, didn't care then. Everyone was watching you, moving.